Hey everybody, it's Brandon with Cigars and Cinema, and I'm talking to you today before we start about one of our sponsors, Calypso Cigar Shop and Lounge in Richardson, Texas. These guys have been supporting our podcast for years, back in the day when it was the Calypso Cigar Review Show, and now as Cigars in Cinema. So we'd really appreciate it if you would support them. Give Matt over there at the Calypso Cigar Shop and Lounge a call at 972-761-9903 and order some cigars. And hey, if you happen to be in Richardson and you want to stop by, go by 1401 East Arapahoe Road, Suite E in Richardson, Texas, and talk to Matt yourself. It's a great shop full of great people and great cigars, and we appreciate the support. Now on to the show. Cigars in Cinema.
Will you bring in the cigars, please?
The movie review podcast that tackles the smoky side of cinema.
Cigar, mate!
Oh, I don't mind if I do.
Each week we review a movie that contains in some way, shape, or form someone smoking a cigar.
Cigars. Fire is good.
We'll talk about who smoked it, where they smoked it, how they smoked it, and we'll probably make fun of them if they have no idea what they're doing.
What are you doing? You never light a cigar that way.
So sit back, light up, and enjoy the podcast that has it all. Cigars.
Cigar. Smoke it.
Smoke it.
Movies.
Say hello to my little friend!
And general mayhem.
My doggy!
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 3
Trace
of Cigars in Cinema. I am Brandon Luna.
I'm Randy Rankin.
And today we're reviewing a war classic, sort
Yes,
of.
yes.
Kind of, pseudo
A modern war classic.
A modern classic, yes. Crimson Tide.
Nothing can stop the tide. The LA Times says Crimson Tide is full throttle tension that squeezes out your every last breath.
You repeat this order or I'll find somebody who will.
CBS TV says it's taut, tense, and terrific.
I'm assuming command of this ship. You're not assuming anything.
And Siskel and Ebert give 2 thumbs up to the summer's most thrilling, in-your-face smash hit.
Lost Captain Ramsey in his stateroom. They're fueling our missiles. No!
Crimson Tide, rated R, now playing at a theater near you.
Great Gene Hackman.
We love Gene Hackman, by the
And
way.
the really good Denzel Washington.
Yes, you mentioned that before. Why?
We'll get to it when we do the review.
Okay.
Because it has to do with the movie.
Okay.
One of the best well-acted movies I've ever seen as far as from an action movie standpoint.
So this movie was a product of the 90s, and the
Cold
producer
War was still kind of fresh.
The producer mega group that is Bruckheimer Simpson.
Yeah.
They did a crap ton of movies in the 80s and 90s that were all these definitive action movies that all looked like
Big
they were
budget,
just like
The world's going to end if this doesn't happen.
Exactly, and they all kind of came off that whole MTV style of things with quick cuts and the great lighting and all the crazy stuff that you'd see at MTV. So it was kind of that movement of filmmaking.
Yeah. And, of course, it takes place on a submarine.
It does.
And usually I don't like claustrophobic movies.
Mhm.
Actually, let me rephrase. I do like claustrophobic movies. I just like claustrophobic movies that don't feel claustrophobic, if that makes sense. But this one has to feel that way. It's in a submarine. Sorry. It's going to feel that way.
Yeah.
But it needs to, and it kind of adds to the dimension.
I think they did a better job of to me the best movie that really makes you feel claustrophobic for a submarine movie that was made recently was probably Das Boot, and you feel like it's a really small, like the inside of a submarine should look.
Yeah.
Hunt for October went the opposite. It looks huge.
Yeah, that looks like
a freaking.
It
looks like
aircraft carrier.
Yeah, I mean,
or
I always thought the set of that looked like the set of the Enterprise. It's like, let's take the Enterprise set and change that, make it look like a set. It was just too
Right,
big.
yeah.
And this one scales it back a little bit.
Right.
There's pipes in the way and stuff in the way, so you can tell they
and
try
people
to
are
make it look
ducking
small.
and stuff. It's cool.
Exactly.
We'll set it up a little bit. It's Gene Hackman, who's a legendary captain of in the Navy in the submarine division. You notice I'm very military eloquent, but he's very proud of his ship and very proud of his crew. He's very passionate about the Navy.
Yep.
And the new boy comes along, Denzel Washington, who's hoping to get his own boat someday.
Yep.
And
Gene Hackman's got a cool name, Captain Ramsey.
I know, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And so he and Denzel clash over. What had happened was, according to the movie, now I don't know if this is true, I've been told yes, I've been told no by several other military people, that at the time, according to the movie, a nuclear sub commander and the president were the only two people who had the authority to initiate nuclear strikes. And there's a transmission that comes through that Russia's getting ready to strike America with nuclear weapons. So they were supposed to launch their own.
Yep.
Well, the transmission stops halfway, and so it's not a complete message.
Well, they get the first one.
They get the first one. Yeah,
and then they get the second one, and it's incomplete.
Yeah.
And they don't. And the difference is, you got Ramsey, who's like hardcore, old school. Like
protocol says you go with the full message.
Yeah,
you don't
we got a message. That's broken. That's a broken code. We don't know if that could be something from the bad guys trying to trick us. We don't know what this is.
Right. So we go with the first one. It's a complete one. We go with it. Well, Denzel is acting. He's like,
XO.
Wait a minute.
He's
the XO. He's like, let's figure. Let's find out. Let's wait and see. And he's like, Hackman's like, you don't have time. What I love about this movie is that they're both right and they're both wrong. And, this is where I get into my Denzel rant. This is when Denzel got preachy to me.
Yeah.
It seemed like all his roles from that point on were he was the moral fiber of every decision to be made. It didn't matter if it was that football movie he did or whatever, everything. Denzel is the moral compass for everything. And it kind of started in this movie. And I do like it that Hackman kind of gets his own, what's the word, comeuppance too.
Yeah, they both do.
Yeah, and they both get scolded at the end of the movie. But it's just very intense. There's mutiny that takes place. Well acted. Just, some of the scenes when they're in each other's faces, it's just like, how do you do that? Because like 5 minutes before they were probably sitting in their chairs, eating lunch, shooting the shit, and now they're in each other's faces. Sweat flying off your, but it's so intense and it's so believable. It's so awesome.
Yeah, it's very, very well acted. And this, this comes out of Tony Scott, who's the director on this. Who,
is he the one that killed himself?
He was the one that, he committed suicide in 2012, which is very sad. He was part of the Scott brothers.
Ridley Scott and
Tony Scott. Ridley Scott did the more transcendental kind of thought-provoking movies with Alien and stuff like that, where it was, Blade Runner, that type of thing, with this little more, I guess, brainy kind of sci-fi things. And then Tony was like, I'm going to do the opposite. So he just did the popcorny Top Gun type stuff,
Although he did do a small movie that I love.
Okay.
Revenge.
I knew you were
tiny movie. No, but it is a tiny movie for him.
Yeah.
But it's good.
So he started off with The Hunger in '83. That was really his kind of first movie foray into filmmaking, and it was very MTV. It looked like an MTV. It looked like a music video. It had David Bowie as a vampire. Blah blah blah.
I remember that.
A cheesy movie, but it was what set him up and gave him Top Gun. So then Top Gun was a huge hit for him in '86. Then he went on to do Beverly Hills Cop 2 in '87, Revenge in '90, Days of Thunder, which was Top Gun Part 2, basically with cars. Last Boy Scout, which is one of our favorite Bruce Willis movies in '91, and then True Romance in '93, which is probably the best movie that Quentin Tarantino wrote that he didn't direct.
Right.
And then Crimson Tide. So he had a really good track record of making very good movies.
Yeah, he had a good run.
That had, great visual style to them, good amount of content that was actually substance. It wasn't all flash on top of it. Probably, when you get into the flash stuff, you're looking at The Hunger, Top Gun, Days of Thunder, to a degree Beverly Hills Cop, but, there's still fun movies, so... He did it all. He had a great track record, and he made a lot of good movies. Unfortunately, committed suicide, which is sad.
That's terrible. It
is. But this movie was kind of a launching point for a lot of people. And Viggo Mortensen was in this.
Great cast.
Gandolfini, who was like 300 pounds lighter than he was in Sopranos, probably. Just crazy.
Barely recognizable.
I know. He's still, you can see his face, and he has the Gandolfini looks that he always gives, that evil kind of look that he gave. And obviously Tony Scott liked work with him because he worked with him in True Romance.
Right.
That was really the first movie that I saw Gandolfini in that I was like, oh, this guy's fucking good.
Yeah.
And I see True Romance, and he has that scene where he kicks the crap out of what's her name? Patricia Arquette.
Yeah.
And God, that scene's just brutal, man. Brutal scene. But he's such a great actor, and I think he's one of those guys that everybody thinks about Sopranos, and I really don't think he got his due.
I saw a movie with. I don't like Kristen Stewart much, but I saw a movie with her. And
that was a good movie. Yeah,
very good movie.
Yeah.
That movie had a lot of heart.
It did. Yeah.
And you don't think of Gandolfini being the actor that portrays having a lot of heart, but he did. I loved that guy in that movie. He was so awesome in it.
Yeah, he was. Steve Zahn was in this. He had a couple of lines, not very many.
Right.
But he's gone on to bigger things. Ryan Phillippe, who this is his first role.
Wow. Ryan Phillippe.
He's in the same scene with Steven Zahn. He's just looking at fish tank.
Was it Danny Nucci or something?
Yeah, Danny Nucci was in it. Who went on to do greater things as well. But little factoids.
I don't know for sure, but I think the dog was the same dog from Frasier. I remember hearing it at the time. I've never heard it confirmed or denied since. But
good dog actor.
Yeah, very good dog actor.
There's
Eddie.
It's funny because I say that, and I'm not trying to be funny, but there was a scene in the movie when he does. And this is spoiler alert. This movie's old as hell. If you haven't seen it,
Came out in '95. Come on.
We told you to watch it. You should have watched it before you listen to this. But there's a scene after Denzel Washington basically, he takes over as a mutiny. He sends Hackman back to his room, and as soon as he walks in the room, the dog is wagging its tail and it stops.
The dog senses like, oh shit, this isn't good.
I was like, that
That's
little
cool.
factoid like that. I'm like,
that's great directing.
Cool. Yeah.
That's great directing.
That's
right
great directing. It's like, wonder what that director did to make that dog. He's probably like, treat. The dog's like, oh fuck,
Shit, hell yeah. Oh, yeah.
But I mean, it could have been anything. That was just like, I saw that and I was like, oh, that's a cool moment.
Yeah.
Hackman sits down, starts looking through the file like, that motherfucker.
Yeah, it's my dad was in the Navy, and my grandfather was in the Navy, so the pageantry at the beginning before they get ready to go underwater, it's awesome. I got chills. I mean, because my dad would tell me about those kind of moments that you would have, and even though my dad hated being on a boat, which why were you in the Navy, Dad? But never,
right.
But he hated being on a boat. But he said he would even get chills and would tear up, before they'd set sail like they're a sailboat or something. But before they take off. And it's just just that pageantry. It's just you can't help but get sucked into it,
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a football game. The coach gets you pumped up before the game. You can't help but fall for it, And so I love that scene. That was great. And Crimson Tide, because the submarine's called the USS Alabama, and of course Alabama football is the Crimson Tide.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah.
I know, I'm just kidding.
And and the war cry for the Crimson Tide football team is Roll Tide.
Yep.
So they did that Roll Tide thing. It was kind of cool.
That was
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, and you got to know Gene Hackman picked this script because he had a lot of really good speeches.
Oh, yeah.
In it. I mean, he had about 3 or 4 just like epic monologues, in this thing.
Hackman. I mean, there could be a Hackman movie on.
Yep.
And I could be like making me a peanut butter sandwich. And Hackman would say something like, "Put that down," and I would just do it. He just has this authority in his voice that it's he just means something. Something's about to happen. I'm going to quit making my sandwich now because he might have been talking to me, and I don't want to piss him off.
And he is one of those actors. We talked about this in the last episode. Actors who mostly did drama that did comedy with Paul Newman on Butch Cassidy, and how it seemed like he was funny, but it seemed like he maybe was a little uncomfortable with it.
Yeah.
Hackman did both. He flew between both like a champ.
Young Frankenstein was genius.
Young Frankenstein, which has a great cigar scene. We'll review that eventually.
Yeah.
You look at Birdcage. You look at any number of things.
I hate
Welcome to Mooseport.
Yeah, jeez. So sad to end your career that way, Gene.
But
Come on, one more.
But he did really good at comedy.
He was good, and he was great. And think about it.
Lex Luthor.
His Lex Luthor was hilarious.
It was
Lex Luthor was hilarious, and so Hackman, and it was a breeze for him.
Effortless.
Yeah, it just
effortless.
Didn't seem like it was any big deal.
The guy just exuded coolness, and he was just a really cool, great actor.
And and Denzel is a great actor. I'm not going to say he's not a great actor, and I'm not going to say I dislike him. I actually do like Denzel. I just get a little tired of the preachiness from time to time.
Yeah.
But like Training Day, he was excellent in it.
Another Tony Scott movie that he did that I actually liked a lot was Man on Fire. I thought he was really good
yes.
in Man on Fire. Great movie.
My wife couldn't talk for 30 minutes after that movie.
Yeah.
That movie disturbed her. It moved her so much that I was like, what's up? She's like, she just hold her hand up like, I can't talk right now.
Yeah. That's a great flick.
It is a great flick. I didn't know Tony Scott did that one.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he did.
And to see 2 heavyweights like that just go at it, that's when I get excited about a movie, when it's the acting. I just want to see the acting. And it's just great, Hackman just has these nuances about him that it really seems so effortless. It's like he's not reading a script. It's almost like Hackman ad-libs everything. I'm not saying he does. It just seems that way because everything just flows from him like nothing.
Yeah.
Like, water out of a faucet.
Yeah, it's like butter. Yeah. It's not he's not reciting lines. At no point when you see a performance from Hackman do you think he's reciting lines. It always seems very real. Yeah. Just it's in the moment. Yeah. And I think when you have a good actor like Denzel Washington, even Viggo and these other guys playing off of it, it feels very real. Yeah. And you get caught up in the movie, and it is very effective, especially being in those close quarters and knowing that they can't go anywhere and they have to resolve this. It's just it's a great flick. So to talk to the cigar smoking in this film, because there's a lot of it. Yeah. Gene Hackman is the cigar smoker in the film. Now, Denzel does partake.
He does give him a cigar at one point. Yes,
so at the 5-minute mark, Gene Hackman lines up a cigar, and that's when he's talking to Denzel about taking the job. And I love some of the lines in there. He's like, you made a short list, and he's like, No, he's like, you're on the list of people to replace my last XO, and he's like, oh, thank you very much, sir. He's like, it's a short list. It's like, don't thank me too much. You know? It's just,
and I have a lot of choices here.
Yeah, exactly. You know,
And then he has that line where he says,
at the 17-minute mark. Yeah.
He takes a puff on a cigar, blows it out, and he says, I don't trust air that I can't
Don't
see.
trust air I can't see. Yeah. Yep. And then Gene Hackman smokes with Denzel. He's like, this is your rite of passage. You got to smoke with me. So they're outside the boat before they go under, and they smoke a cigar together. And Denzel's looking a little green in the gills, and he's like, "It's your first one?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Don't like it too much. It's more expensive than drugs." Which technically it is a drug, but it was still a good line.
Yeah, we all know that.
Yeah.
But now, okay, so we talked about this. The close quarters of being in a submarine. Seriously, there is no salary on the planet that would get me to stay in a sub for 6 months. I couldn't do it. I just wouldn't do it. It wouldn't work. I wouldn't last a week.
Yeah.
Wouldn't last 2 days probably. But the air, I mean, just
the fact that you're breathing the same air as
breathing
everybody
people's
else.
farts and their, you know,
bad breath. You know, someone has halitosis, or
and if you're smoking a cigar,
yeah, exactly. I was trying to look up to see if that's actually. I mean, they allow people to smoke on.
I don't think they do anymore. I think they did at one point.
It has to be something that went away, because that's like, wow, that's kind of weird that they would allow them to do that.
Not that I'm a big secondhand smoke believer, but I think in a submarine, definitely that would be an issue.
Yep. But Gene Hackman does smoke cigars again at the 21-minute mark. And then this is during the dinner scene when everybody's talking about war in general, and he gets his opinion of war.
Another great scene.
That's
where you get to find out who Gene Hackman is.
Yep.
Who Captain Ramsey is.
And this is where you start. I mean, you see there's moments before that where you see that they're going to butt heads, but that's really the moment where you see that they're on different wavelengths.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. Yeah.
They're on different wavelengths. And then there's that moment later when he calls out the order for the thing, and it was the fire. They had the fire in the galley that caused the death, and that's when Gene Hackman decides to do the drill. And Denzel's like, he's doing a drill now, and he freaks out. He's like, he's like, there's a fire that could spark up again. Someone got hurt. So he goes up there, and they're doing the drill, and he's calling the drills, and Denzel's like, hey, there's a fire. It might spark up again. He's like, looks at him and just says, and he does the drill thing, and then Gene Hackman gives him that look like, motherfucker,
don't challenge me.
Yeah, I was just like, that was the moment I'm like, oh shit,
I'm the fucking boss. You shut up.
And then he takes him over to that room and has a little discussion with him. You know, he says that great line. He's like, we're here to protect democracy, not practice it.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Yes. In other words, this is a dictatorship.
Yeah,
but we're going to protect democracy. That's what we're doing here.
I'm the dick. You're the tater, and this is my ship.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And you know, we've played sports. We've all done that. We've all worked in business. It has to be that way. It really does. It does has to be the one person that the decision has to fall upon. And you know, if you're going to question it, that's fine. But question it off to the side. You know, say, hey, this is my opinion. But if he didn't like your opinion, sorry, it's his call.
Yep, exactly.
And that's the problem I have with Denzel. Sometimes, most of the time, for this movie, it's like, wait a minute, you're not the boss here. He's the boss.
Exactly.
You might be right. But it's not your call.
That was the character. I mean, that's the character flaw that character actually has. That he challenges him in front of all the other people.
Yeah, exactly.
When he should have done it. You know, it's like, let's go ahead and do this. But then I'll say, hey, my piece. You know, I just want to let you know I didn't agree with what you did. He's like, sorry, but that's the way I do things. If you don't like it, you know, get off the ship. He says that at one point.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's
get
like,
off the ship.
The morale's kind of low. I think we need to talk to these guys. All right, gets on the comm. He's like, her morale's low. If you don't like it, get off the damn ship.
I'm not saying everything Hackman does is great, because he's an ass.
He is.
He's a total ass. But I think he senses that he's losing control. And he's never had that. You get that from him. He's never had this before.
Yeah.
He's never had people question him. Certainly not in the way Denzel's doing it.
No.
And he's not going to handle it well, because he's never done it before.
Yep.
And so he's pissed. And so he does kind of act like a baby from time to time. But he still has to be... He has to put up that front, you know, that, hey, this is my guys. I can't lose control of my guys because of this jackwagon challenging me on everything, you know.
And you can see that moment when Gene loses it, when he's like, "This is my ship," and shut your fucking mouth. He
does. He loses it. I don't know where he's just like, "You shut the fuck up," or whatever. It's
I was like, "Oh god."
Totally loses it. Totally against his character, but it.
And
just the way he felt that
classic too, because you can see him just like, "Oh, you son of a bitch! You know, can't believe you just fucking said that to me in front of all these guys." You know,
now there was that scene with the flood and at the show, and we watched that scene together, and I got chills. The way Denzel handled that scene was awesome, because he's on the mic. Everyone knows this person just died, and he just says, I don't remember what he said, but kind of like, let's just, you know, think about that,
Yeah.
or something like that. And
it's it's moments before that when Gene Hackman when he finally when he kicked Gene Hackman out of his seat basically and took over the submarine, where Gene Hackman's like, you can't make the tough, you're not ready to make the tough decisions, but he did make the tough decisions.
Yeah, he did,
and that's why it leads to the end that they had.
Yeah.
So a lot of people don't know this, but Quentin Tarantino was actually brought in to punch up the script of the film. And they're saying that a lot of the stuff that he added, they kind of cut. They cut back on it because it's, at that point, Quentin Tarantino's Quentin Tarantino. Everything sounds like Tarantino.
Yeah.
The stuff that did stay was there, and it's extraneous. It doesn't need to be in the movie, but it holds with later in the film as to why these guys would back Denzel. There's a moment when they have a fight in the galley.
Yeah.
And Denzel questions the guy. He's like, what the fuck was that about? Why are you fighting? He's like, it's stupid. I don't want to talk about it. He's like, no, you need to tell me. I'm asking you. You need to tell me. And he's like, fighting about Silver Surfer. I said this is the real Silver Surfer, and he said this other guy's the real Silver Surfer.
That's like,
it's such a stupid reason to fight.
Yeah.
But Denzel's like, that's you could be the next guy, and you could move up the ranks, but you got to stop the shit and realize think about before you do stuff like that. And everybody knows that guy's the real Silver Surfer.
Right.
So that was kind of funny, but did it need to be there? Not necessarily.
No,
but
it didn't. And this was back in, I mean, I don't go to many movies now anyways. But back in the day when that came out, I didn't never go to a movie. Well, that's a lie. But it was rare. It was still rare. I'd see maybe 2 a year.
Yeah.
And that was one that I had to go see. And a buddy of mine named Jack, he wanted to go see, what was that Dustin Hoffman movie, Outbreak or something?
Yeah.
I think it came out about the same time. And I said, no, I want to see Crimson Tide instead. And so we went to see that and loved it. And seeing that on the big screen was awesome. Did you see it in the theater?
Yeah, I saw it in the theater.
Yeah, it was awesome.
I'll see anything Gene Hackman. The only thing I didn't see in the theater that Gene Hackman was in that I can remember is probably Welcome to Mooseport. I saw Birdcage in the theater too.
Did you? Really?
Yeah.
Okay, back to what I was going to say. And it's not because I'm homophobic, because you know as well as I do that I'm not.
Yeah.
I just never thought drag was funny. I just don't think guys dressing in drag is funny. I just don't. It's not funny to me. Sorry, it's not. And it's been a sight gag for years. I mean, that's an old vaudeville thing. I mean, guys in drag supposed to be funny. But in Birdcage, seeing Gene Hackman in drag actually made me laugh.
Exactly. He looked totally uncomfortable too. It's about probably the least comfortable he's ever looked on screen when he was in drag in that movie.
And Gene Hackman is a huge Dallas Cowboys fan, or at least he was.
Yeah, I heard that.
He and the reason why was in the '60s when they were doing Bonnie and Clyde here in Dallas. He's a big football fan, and he just called Tex Schramm and said, "I'm an actor. Nobody knows me. I haven't done much, but is there any chance I can come watch Cowboys practice?" Tex Schramm rolled out the red carpet for him, and let him read a playbook and all this kind of stuff. And they treated him like he was a star, and he wasn't.
Yeah, that's cool.
And so it's like, I'm a Cowboys fan now. In that movie, The Replacements, he wore a fedora to emulate Tom Landry. So that's kind of cool.
That is way cool, yeah.
Yeah.
And the last time that Gene Hackman lights up in this movie is at the 1 hour 40-minute mark when they have the last speech that talks to the thing that everybody thought was coming, and it was going to be a race thing. I think that's a Quentin Tarantino speech too about the Lippenzanger stallions. That they're the best stallions in the world and they're all white. Like, oh come on, guys, you had to go there.
Yeah, they did.
He's like, yeah, they're not from there. They're from Spain, and
see, that was
they're born black.
That was one thing I loved about that movie.
Yeah,
was that it wasn't a race movie at all.
Yeah.
And then they threw that in at the end. It's like, oh come on, you did a really good job of not making this about race. It was about chain of command. And the lack of respect for chain of command.
Exactly.
And then you had to turn it into a race thing. It's like, oh, come on.
But I liked it at the very end, though, after the hearing and everything, and Gene Hackman actually recommends him to take over the boat, which was cool.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, you were right, by the way. And Denzel's like, what? He's like, about the stallions. They're from Spain. He's like, not about anything else. It's just awesome. That's fucking great.
That's awesome. And I like the speech that Jason Robards gives. Where at the hearing, pretty much he undresses both of them. Like,
he really does, yeah.
This is not the way we're supposed to run this operation, and
off the record, you guys both fucked up. Basically, is what he says.
Exactly. So, no, excellent movie. If you haven't seen it, shame on you, and go see it now. Rent it, download it, whatever.
Yep.
Spend $39 for it. That's a callback to a previous episode.
Exactly.
But but watch it. That movie's excellent. I've probably seen it maybe 10 times. Probably seen it 10 times.
Yeah, fantastic movie. And lots of cigar smoking in there. So if you want to see Gene Hackman chew on a cigar and smoke on a cigar, that's definitely one you get. And I could never tell what he was smoking. It looked like
I thought it was a Cohiba at one point.
It looked like a band of a Cohiba at one point, but you really don't. There's not.
And then another time it looked like a Romeo and Juliet, but I couldn't tell.
He was doing a torpedo at one point. I knew that. The last speech when he does about the horses, that's the one where he's smoking what looks like a torpedo. But Oddly enough, a torpedo in a submarine. So.
Little correlation there.
Right. But yeah, great special effects, great cinematography, great score by Hans Zimmer. Just overall, fantastic movie.
You heard a bad Hans Zimmer score?
Yeah, there's a couple of them.
I haven't heard any bad ones, really. But
Yeah.
then again, you see more movies than I do. Of that Magnus.
I know he was one of those guys when he started his career that he did a lot of stuff over. Like I know the score that he did for Commando, which is it's a fun movie, but it's really a crappy Schwarzenegger movie. He used in another movie. I'm like, oh come on, that's the same
did he
score.
really?
He just reused some of your
Wow.
score, dude. That's kind of
Well,
lazy.
what's his name that did Sergio Leone? What's his name? Shit.
Crap, what's that guy's name?
He used a lot of his...
Eniro
Yeah,
Morricone or
he used a
whatever.
lot of his same stuff. before.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
But a lot of people don't know this. Because, you think Lion King, most people think Elton John. Elton John just wrote the songs. Hans Zimmer actually did the score for
Yep.
The Lion King.
That is correct.
And won an Academy Award for it.
Yep. The guy's won Academy Awards.
Yeah.
Danny Elfman has not, for some reason. One of my favorite score guys, but he just never really...
I like him. I do like John Williams a lot. Every Superman movie should still have the Superman theme in some way,
yeah.
shape, or form.
Oh, yeah,
I don't
for
care.
sure.
And I can't remember, did they use it in
No, I don't think they did. In the new
Man
one?
of Steel?
I don't think
didn't?
they did. No.
That's bullshit.
I don't. It's been a long time since I've seen that. I caught part of it on cable the other day, but I didn't watch the whole thing in the hotel.
That movie's a beating.
So here's the some IMDb information about this movie. The U.S. Navy found the subject of the film objectionable and inaccurate. It refused to provide any assistance in the movie's
Yeah,
film.
I remember that. Yeah.
And there's a scene in which the USS Alabama is diving for the first time out of deck. The footage is the real submarine submerging. Tony Scott had followed along in a copter, obtaining shots of the ship itself. When the captain of the Alabama requested that the helicopter cease filming, they submerged, which is what the director wanted anyway. So he got the shot he wanted.
I would think that if you've got a submarine, a Navy submarine getting ready to submerge, that would be protected airspace, wouldn't it? Wouldn't you think?
You would think.
I would think. Yeah.
You would think. Which might be why they told him not to do it. I don't know. Who knows? Yeah. But this is total Denzel stuff right here. This is one of the reasons why I think he's a good actor, but I think he's annoying as a person. According to a 1995 Premiere Magazine article, when Quentin Tarantino visited the set, Washington confronted him about his use of the word, the N-word, in his movies. Tarantino got embarrassed and wanted to move the conversation to a more private area, but Washington said, no, if we're going to discuss it, let's discuss it now. Washington later said that he felt that Tarantino was a fine artist.
Okay. Well, I'll give Denzel credit. He's a huge superstar, but you don't hear much about his private life, which is awesome. That means obviously he keeps his nose clean. He seems to be a good family guy. One thing I did hear about him, and I'll get the details kind of wrong, but this is kind of what I remember hearing. He was touring, this was right after 9/11, and he was touring an Air Force base down in San Antonio. We drive by that one all the time.
Yeah.
It's by MAMS,
Yeah,
actually.
that's right by Mams.
And he was touring it and talking about the barracks, and they were like, we don't really have enough room, and blah, blah, blah. And so Denzel, as he left, said, how much would it cost to build a new barracks? And they gave him a number, and he wrote him a check right there.
Wow.
That's cool.
That is way cool.
Yeah.
How would you feel about Al Pacino playing the role of Ramses?
No. I don't want Al Pacino playing any role. I can't stand him.
Al Pacino was offered the role to play Ramsey. Warren Beatty was also interested in the movie. Simpson and Bruckheimer went through a long period of trying to convince him to sign on before both parties moved on.
I could see Beatty playing it. I'm not a big Beatty fan, but I could see him pulling
Val
it.
Kilmer was offered the role that Denzel Washington got, but he declined it, years later saying that was one of the few roles he wished he'd taken.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yep. Oh, there you go. The cigars that Ramsey smokes with Hunter at the beginning of the movie on their mission are made by Monte Cristo. The brand is both Cuban and Dominican, but two totally different companies. But Ramsey's more expensive than drugs comment implies that theirs were the Cuban-made variety. Ramsey's cigar of choice throughout the movie is the classic tapered Monte Cristo No. 2.
Nice. Okay.
So thank you, IMDb.
That's cool.
That's way cool. You were saying.
Don't remember. Oh,
it.
It's just different things, and yeah, it's a dead horse, but it's still interesting. In a perfect world, Clint Eastwood wanted Denzel to play the costume part, and I don't remember why it didn't happen, but I bought him. He would have been fine in that role. It would have been a good role for him. Yeah, Val Kilmer shouldn't have turned down any roles back then because he's paying for it now.
Yeah, I mean that was right after Top Gun. He was still
Tombstone.
Yeah, exactly. It was right around that same time.
Yeah,
he should have taken those roles, but well, what can you do? Andy Garcia was also an early choice for a role that was taken by Denzel. Tommy Lee Jones passed on the part that was offered to Gene Hackman as well. He
He'd
probably
been
could have
good.
pulled it off.
He'd been good.
He would have pulled it off.
Yeah.
But, Gene Hackman's awesome in that movie, so it's hard to...
It's the little things that Hackman does that just
Yeah.
win me over all the time.
Gene Hackman's character wears a pink ball cap, similar to what director Tony Scott wears on the set. That's funny. So he
That's
just
cool.
did that as a... Jason Robards, who plays the Admiral in the inquiry scene, actually served in the Navy during World War II and received the Navy Cross. So
Huh.
That's
Interesting.
cool.
That's cool.
And Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise were also considered for the role that Denzel Washington took.
Oh, if Tom Cruise had been in it, it would have ruined the movie.
Yeah, it would have been overacted.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was Tom Cruise in his overacting phase.
Yeah.
He was just like screaming everything.
This is not the truth. I want the truth. You can't handle it.
That was like the most awful rendition of that scene.
Did we degrade that scene to
We just
nothing?
totally
We just pissed on it, wiped our asses with it, and then
exactly
shit on it afterwards.
Exactly. But we're not going to shit on is this movie because this movie's badass and you need to watch it. It's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have not seen this film for whatever reason, stop what you're doing now
And
and
watch.
watch.
Well, after
Crimson
us,
Tide.
after our show,
Well, yeah.
finish our show first.
Exactly. So we're going to take a little break. We'll come back for the second, third. We're going to do a little movie news, and then we'll come back and talk about the next film that we're going to be reviewing. Oh, wait, are we doing that?
Yeah.
Are we?
Yeah.
We have movie news?
Yes, we do. Oh, we're not movie news. No, but I have something I want to talk about.
Oh, okay. We have something to talk about in the second,
It has
third.
to do with acting.
Oh, interesting. Interesting. We'll be back. All right, we're back for the next segment, and instead of doing movie news this time, we're just going to talk about some stuff because we're kind of doing these in advance, so we don't have the lull in the episodes that we've had previously. And I'll be doing a couple of episodes on my own on the road just to cover some of the movies that I know Randy will never ever watch, even if I force him to. So you'll have some extra content there as well. But we won't be able to tell you what those are. So just look at the name of the episode, and if you want to watch that movie before you listen to that episode, go that route. So what did you want to discuss, Randy?
Okay, well, you mentioned two of my hot buttons as far as acting styles. There's certain people that just overact, and I can't stand it. I hate overacting.
Okay.
And I'll clarify it by notice the list of people I'm about to say.
Okay.
These are my favorite actors, in no particular order. Hackman excluded because he doesn't fit with the rest of them, but Jimmy Stewart, Paul Newman,
Okay.
Cary Grant,
All right.
Kevin Costner, all pretty much under actors.
Okay.
And they're effective to me. I like that style. The people that drive me nuts, Al Pacino. I think he overacts everything he says. Everything he says, it's like he's trying to give you an acting class while he's saying his words. Drives me nuts.
Yep.
Tom Cruise, overactor. And as we discuss, more people will pop into my head. But to me, it's more effective when I'm watching acting to feel like I'm in that role, not in that role as an actor, but I'm in that role as a person, that this is happening to me. And how would I say certain things? And those are the kind of actors that I respond to.
Yeah.
Kurt Russell, even to a certain degree, I think he overacts at times, but he
Yeah.
also gets it too, where he's
A movie that I thought probably one of his best performances that not a lot of people saw was Breakdown. I
Yeah.
thought it was like
Great
just
movie.
a great
Great
movie.
yeah.
On the level acting wise, he didn't really overdo anything. It's great. Just overall great
Yeah.
performance from him. And
He was very Dennis Weaver-like in that Duel. He was
Exactly,
because he was
yeah.
the villain. He was the villain. He was the victim.
Yeah.
And you felt it. He sensed that he didn't know what to do. He was trying to act outside his normal realm of
Yeah.
what he's supposed to do, but he's got to get his wife back. So
Yeah.
he's loved that.
And you can
performance.
look at a director that used two of the actors that were on your list, both Cary Grant and Jimmy Stewart worked with Alfred Hitchcock a lot.
Yeah.
And I think he liked those guys because they were very effective in that.
They were everyman. They were
Everyman,
every guy.
Everyman actors that didn't push it too far. Even in stuff like Rope or Vertigo, where he did have to kind of go up a level. It was not to where it was like, holy shit, this is fake. It
Yeah,
always seemed like
exactly.
it was real. I mean,
Yeah.
even Rear View Mirror, which was the movie we're going to make.
Yeah.
It's a spin-off of that.
Yes, exactly.
Everything's the whole murder.
Everyone acts like this.
He's stuck in a car. He's locked himself in his car, and he has to only look through the back of his rearview mirror to the murders that are happening behind him.
Right,
But he can't drive away. He's stuck in the car.
Don't give away our script.
Damn it!
Damn it. But that, to me, that's just more effective.
Yeah,
I mean,
I get it. Yeah.
That hoo-ah thing
Yeah.
that Al Pacino, it's like, what the fuck is that? Who does that in real life?
Yeah.
Do you know anyone who acts that way in real life? You know?
Brandon Holsworth.
Yeah, well, he's the exception to everything.
He's the great overactor, but I love him for it, though.
Yeah,
He's
exactly.
a personality, you know.
Exactly.
But,
I got to punch him in the face. That was so awesome. Anyway.
But that's the difference, though, is that, okay, so if you look at, Brandon Holsworth versus you, Brandon Holsworth would be the movie star, and you would be the actor.
Yeah. I'll take that.
Because he's got the grandiose, so, you're just going to, let's see what he's going to do, because he's crazy.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And to me, it's just more effective because I just look at it. How would a normal person handle it? How would they say it? And they would say it that way. They wouldn't say "hoo-ah," and they wouldn't be "who can't handle the truth" or whatnot. I want the truth. Yeah. It's like, come on. And that's what ruined Color of Money for me. Even though I like the movie still, Newman's just being Newman. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's acting. I mean, he's not, not saying he's playing himself by any means, but he's just, he's there. He's being the movie. He's acting the part. And here's Tom Cruise, fake crying, fake. It's just, I can't. But yet, I'll go on IMDb every now and then, and people just rip this so-called underactor. Can't act. What do you mean he can't act? That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. I mean, even I'm not a Keanu Reeves fan. Keanu Reeves can act. He's not the greatest by any means at all, but he's been effective in a lot of roles.
Yeah.
And usually, I've said it on episodes. Robin Williams can't stand his comedy. It's just too over the top, too. Drives me nuts.
But
when you get him
drama,
in a serious movie, love him. He plays it perfect.
Yep. What Dreams May Come,
Dead Poets Society.
Yeah,
awesome.
World According to Garp.
Yeah,
by George Roy.
Yeah, and I don't like Harrison Ford because the way he treated you, because he's a dick.
Yeah,
but I like a lot of Harrison Ford movies, and he's the same way.
Yeah, he's definitely an underactor. Yeah.
He doesn't overdo anything. It's there. And to me, that's my thing. I want that in a performance. And then I'll say, wow, that was a well-acted performance.
Yeah. To me, I mean, Harrison Ford, when I was a kid, I loved him in Star Wars because it's Han Solo, but then I saw Blade Runner, and I'm like, that's like next-level shit.
Yeah.
Because he really, he just played the role. He didn't overdo anything. He played against Rutger Hauer, which Rutger Hauer was great in that as well. Yeah. And, he's a great actor. I think Rutger Hauer's a really good actor, but he does overact in some roles, but for that role it was perfect, and they played off each other very well. Daryl Hannah, probably one of the better acted roles from her. So I mean, just if you got the right director, you got the right actor, you play it well, it's very effective in putting you in that movie instead of taking you out of it.
Right.
You get someone like Jack Nicholson who can do well in some roles, but other roles it's so over the top that it just takes you right out of that, into like you're just watching Nicholson just go crazy, you know. So
and
The Shining, it was one of the biggest overacted movies ever. I mean, to me, I just like, his performance is awesome. People are like, it's great. I'm like, no, he's awful. He's just awful in that movie.
Yeah. Here's Johnny. And that was an ad-lib, and it's like, really, it's not even funny. It was supposed to be this funny tension breaker, but yet still be intense. And, man, I'm going to say something that's going to get me in trouble.
For this? You going to take hell?
Yeah.
All right, what?
I think One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is one of the most overrated movies of all time.
Yeah.
I don't like his performance in that. It's
I like other people's performances in that.
First of all, it's a rip-off of Cool Hand Luke. I mean, it's the same movie, just in a hospital as opposed to in a prison camp. It's the same movie.
I like Brad Dourif in that movie.
Brad Dourif is great. Who's the Indian guy? Loved his part. Even Nurse Ratched was overdone. Yeah. She was way overdone. I'm not saying it's a bad movie. I just think for the accolades it gets, it's kind of like, really? It's not that great.
So here's a list from What Culture of some of the most awesome examples of overacting. Number 10, William Shatner from Wrath of Khan. The whole Khan, screaming Khan thing. Now, I will give him props for taking it a different direction with when Spock died. I thought that was very effective. He did very little. He cried. It was, it wasn't over the top. Yeah. That was a good moment for him.
And he's great on TV, like The Practice or whatever that show was he was on. He was great.
Yeah,
he was,
Boston Legal.
Yeah.
Another big example here is Nicolas Cage in anything he's in.
Yeah.
He's a giant overactor.
Yeah.
He's effective in some films. Like I love Raising Arizona. I think it's a great movie. He's hilarious in that. Al Pacino in Scarface, big overacting. Pretty much anything Al Pacino's in, he's going to overact in. With the exception of maybe like super early stuff. They list Michael Sheen from the Twilight series. I've never seen the Twilight movie, so I can't speak to that. Kevin Spacey, Superman Returns. Very overacting.
Yeah, but he was playing Gene Hackman, though. He wasn't playing Lex Luthor.
Jack Nicholson, The Shining, made the list. Good. Yay, I'm not crazy on that.
Well, I didn't think you were.
John Malkovich in Con Air. Everybody in Con Air.
Yeah.
I think the one that acted the least in that movie was probably Steve Buscemi. You know,
Or Cusack. He didn't really.
yeah, Cusack.
But Cusack's an under actor too.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's very effective as an under actor. So
Yeah.
it's just they list 2 different scenes from Shatner from Wrath of Khan. Wow, they really don't like him in that.
Well, because he acts like this.
Exactly. Yeah. He's,
But
Jack
okay.
Nicholson in The Departed also listed.
Yeah, that whole movie was overacting.
Yeah.
Almost any
Michelle Pfeiffer.
Scorsese movie to me.
Michelle Pfeiffer in Batman Returns. And really,
Yeah,
you
but
know,
she looked good though. So I don't
she
care.
looks great in that. Yeah, but I mean, I think Danny DeVito goes over the top in that as
Yeah,
well.
he
But I think,
does.
and Michael Keaton's the only one that doesn't. You know,
Yeah.
because he just kind of plays it.
Yeah.
He plays it off the cuff. And
Well, I heard an actor say about that, like Henry Fonda was a great actor, but he's also an under actor too. But he was
Yeah.
a great, effective actor. But he was calculated,
Mm.
and he would always a lot of the same co-stars. He would let them be the over actors, so that he could be the man of sensible, the sensible guy and everything. And it was calculated that because that's what he liked. He liked to play the laconic role because he knew that was where he was the most effective.
yeah,
You wouldn't say Charles Bronson's a great actor by any means, but Bronson was very understated and yet effective at the same time. And here's I want to throw out a name.
okay,
I think he's a great actor, period. But I also think he's an under actor, and I think that's kind of why I like him. But Tom Hanks. You don't see Tom Hanks overdo it much. But there's no way Tom Hanks is not considered an effective, very good
yeah,
actor. Now, I almost didn't see Forrest Gump because I saw the trailer. And that voice was driving me crazy in the trailer. I was like, I don't want to hear him talk like that whole movie. That's going to suck.
yeah,
But he didn't overdo it. It seemed like he was going to overdo it by the way the trailer played, but no. That was his voice, that was his character, and he was awesome. And I can't imagine any other actor playing Forrest Gump than Tom Hanks. He was just that good.
yeah,
To pull off that stupid voice, that stupid accent, to play so-called dumb, whatever he was.
yeah.
But what a great performance.
Mm.
But he didn't overact that in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
But, there's... And I love Nicholson, and it's hard to rip on Nicholson, but he does overdo it a
Yeah,
lot.
he
you
does.
know.
Yeah, one of my favorites when I was growing up, just as far as an actor is concerned in this particular movie, Jose Ferrer in the black and white version of Cyrano. Yeah,
Okay.
I thought it was a great role for him.
Yeah.
Just very understated, very it's just right there, man. Great acting.
Awesome.
I love Jose Ferrer as an actor, and
Debbie Boone's father-in-law, by the way.
yeah. And he did a movie with now Jack Black is one of these guys that always overacts.
Yeah.
But there's a
But
Jack
that's his
Black
shtick.
romantic comedy
Yeah.
that he did called the Holiday or something like that. I think.
Oh,
it was.
yeah. With the,
yeah.
Yeah.
Where they
Queen
trade
Latifah was
trade
in.
houses.
Yeah.
They trade houses, and it's like
No, unclean. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
yeah, but they
Cameron Diaz.
Yeah, Cameron Diaz. Yeah, they trade houses. And
I always
he
get
ends up-
Cameron Diaz and Queen Latifah mixed up.
Yeah,
all the
but they
time.
look exactly alike. One's got a big old booty. But anyway, but Jose Ferrer's in this, and we watched it recently with my family, and my daughter saw it, and she's like, "Who is that old man? He's awesome." She's like, "He's just so good. I just love him." It was Jose Ferrer playing this role of he played like a old Hollywood guy who wrote screenplays.
Had to have been his
and
last
stuff.
movie.
It was one of his last
Yeah.
movies, yeah, and he's so great in it. It just
Yeah.
reminded me how awesome he was.
Yeah.
God, that guy's fucking.
Well, I
cool,
never
man.
thought his name would ever come up on the show, but yeah,
Yeah.
Jose Ferrer's great. Yeah,
Jose Ferrer,
absolutely.
man. Great actor.
Yeah.
Great actor. From those old school, guys.
George
just
Clooney's
really-
uncle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No shit. I didn't know that.
Yeah, Jose Ferrer was married to Rosemary Clooney.
Yep. Now he did overact in Dune, but I think everybody overacted in
Yeah,
Dune. I think
that's-
anything that that director does just tells people to go crazy. Like
Yeah.
what's his name from Blue Velvet?
Dennis Hopper.
Dennis Hopper. I mean, just the king. of
Okay,
overacting.
Hopper can overact big
Yeah.
time. But a lot of times it's really effective, though. But we mentioned True Romance in the last episode.
Mhm.
That scene where he's getting...
It was Eli Wallach. I was wrong. Eli Wallach.
Not Jose Ferrer.
Yeah, not Jose Ferrer. Eli Wallach was in
Jose
The
Ferrer.
Holiday.
Okay, all right.
But I like them both. I mean,
Okay,
they're both
gotcha.
good.
All right.
Eli Wallach overacted in Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
he does good stuff in there. But Eli Wallach really did a great job in The Holiday, so check that out. But Jose Ferrer in Dune, yeah, way overacting.
Way over. And he was good in Cyrano.
I
But,
did like him in The Evil That Men Do. That's another that movie
Jose
with.
Ferrer was in that, wasn't
Yes, he was.
Wow.
Yes, he was.
Wow. Now, to clarify it, just because you underact doesn't mean you're effective. You can
No,
underact
no.
and be terrible.
Yeah, of course.
You know, but and one of my worst pet peeves I hear sometimes is I'll hear people say, "Well, he's just playing himself."
Mm.
They never say that about somebody who's not a superstar.
There's a difference between
You
an
know,
actor and a
only
movie
say
star.
that. Yeah, but you only, like Kevin Costner always plays himself. Okay, he's a superstar because that means you're already thinking of him as you're watching Kevin Costner, not watching a movie. You know, that happens. John Wayne, you're watching John Wayne, you're not watching, you know, that happens. You never hear someone say, oh, Steve Zahn's playing himself. You know, because nobody knows who the hell Steve Zahn is other than he's just an actor.
Yeah.
You know, so it's actually a compliment when someone says that because that means you've achieved a high level of success.
Mm-hmm.
I just always take offense when I hear someone say that because that means that they're not putting anything into their role, and that's bullshit because they are. Mel Gibson, very understated, but yet can go over the top when he has to.
Lethal Weapon, yeah.
The Lethal Weapon stuff.
Lethal Weapon stuff, but he's supposed to.
Certain scenes in What Women Want, he kind of gets a little crazy. But for the most part, Mel Gibson's very...
Anything he's in that he directs, he kind of goes over the top, like Man with No Face and the Braveheart.
And stuff like that.
Crazy in those, but he can do understated roles. He just doesn't do them that often.
Right.
I don't think he'll ever win an Oscar or anything like that, but you know, he's a good actor. He became a good actor.
Yeah. Do you get where I'm saying? I mean, I think you kind of agree a little bit at least.
I do. I do. I totally agree. Yeah.
There are times when it's called for, especially if it's you're a bad guy in an action flick. Yeah, I can see you overacting there because that's kind of fun. Dennis Hopper, big time.
In Speed.
Speed,
and
Waterworld.
And everything else that he did.
Yeah. It's just, but it's fun, and it's just cool to watch, you know. Warren Beatty. Okay, now here's a guy that I think is definitely a movie star, although look at his IMDb. What did he do, like 14 movies? He's not done. His scale of movies is tiny for someone of his stature. But his movies, most of them were hits, so he didn't really have to do anything, so... He did a lot of producing. I think that's really kind of where he directing.
Found
He's a
his
big-time director.
Yeah, he did Reds and everything, and you know he's got 32 movies. You know he doesn't have
32.
That many
movies. But it's since what 64 or something.
Yeah. So
what did he start out on? Dobie Gillis? Is that where he started?
Yeah, some kind of theater stuff. Suspicion, Playhouse 90, Dobie Gillis. Yeah. Splendor in the Grass was his first film in '61. And then really
so in 55 years, he's done 32 movies.
Yep. Didn't really have a whole lot of things until Bonnie and Clyde. That kind of brought him out. McCabe and Miss Miller.
Good Western, by the way.
Parallax View was probably my favorite movie.
Which one?
Parallax View.
I haven't seen
really
that.
Cool flick.
I haven't seen that.
Shampoo I never saw because I was a kid when it came out. Heaven Can Wait I remember liking
Love that movie.
Reds, which was boring. Ishtar, which was actually funny. Most people hate that movie, but I thought it was pretty funny.
I liked Ishtar.
Yeah.
And I don't like Dustin Hoffman. I liked that movie.
Dick Tracy. Ugh. I hated
Say
Dick Tracy.
Dustin Hoffman's an overactor to me, too.
Yeah, he is, yeah. Bugsy, A Love Affair, Bullworth, Larry Sanders Show, Town and Country. And,
Town and Country is one of the biggest bombs.
Yeah, that was a big, giant bomb, yeah. Dick Tracy was hard to watch. I don't know.
The visual in it was just, it hurt my eyes watching that movie. And Madonna looked great back then, and I wasn't even a Madonna fan, but she looked great, but it was
the movie was just like eye rot. It was awful. But people liked it. It did well. I remember it doing well at the box office. So
Bugsy was pretty solid with him.
Yeah, Bugsy was good.
Yeah.
But, you know, again, he was just a good-looking guy who happened to make movies, and women liked him a lot. Yeah. So he was the Tom Jones of movies, basically.
Yeah. Exactly.
I don't really know. I mean, can you name 5 Tom Jones songs?
Probably
What's
5.
New Pussycat?
What's New Pussycat? Delilah.
Nope, you're done. See?
Help Yourself.
You can't
Just
list.
help yourself.
You can't list Kiss because that was a remake. You remember when he came back with that one?
Yeah.
Wow.
Did a song called "Say You'll Stay Till Tomorrow." My mom used to play that song all the time. So that's 4. I got to do one more. I know I'm missing an easy one. That's enough.
Well, there you go.
There we go. So I did 4.
Tom Jones and Warren Beatty. Separated at the hip. One actor, one music. But no, it's just, I don't know. You know, there's definitely a definitive movie star and an actor.
But you can be both, but you still don't have to be over.
Yeah.
Ray Liotta's an overactor, but I do like him.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's a big overactor.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think he's effective in some roles. I really he overacted like crazy in Something Wild, but I thought he was really good in it. And another actor that's an underactor that I think does very well is Jeff Daniels. Jeff Daniels is one of these guys.
But he's considered like an actor.
He can jump between, you know, comedy and drama and do very well with them.
But I think he's great.
He is great. I like seeing that. I like watching movies with the guy. He's you know, he's easy to watch.
I know it's a movie we're not supposed to say on a guy show, but he was awesome in terms of endearment.
Yeah,
I mean, he was a dick. I mean, you couldn't stand it.
See, Deborah Winger, can't take her, and I can't take what's your name?
Shirley MacLaine.
Shirley MacLaine, big overactor. Big overactor.
And Nicholson overacted in it, but that made the movie a little bit because that movie needed some energy, and Nicholson gave that movie the energy it had. But Jeff Daniels was such an ass in that movie.
Yeah.
God.
Yes, he was.
Lithgow was great. Lithgow's an overactor. John Lithgow's an overactor, but he's good in certain roles.
Yeah.
He was great in Garp. He was great in...
See, I don't think he overacted in Garp, but he definitely overacted in like a lot of the stuff he did in the 80s, like in the 90s, like Ricochet with Denzel Washington and Cliffhanger. You know,
Yes,
just like
he was so
way
bad.
overacted.
Oh, yeah.
But he's great at comedy. I loved 30 was it
30
Rock
Rock.
from the Sun?
30 Rock from the Sun, yeah.
was
That's
great. He
hilarious.
was fantastic in that.
Yeah. Harry and the Hendersons. You remember
Yeah,
that?
Harry Anderson's. I cried at the end of that stupid
Did you
movie.
really?
I was a kid, so I'll take it. But it's a crap movie. But when he's trying to tell Sasquatch to go, and he's like, "You gotta leave, go!" I was like, "Oh, don't make Sasquatch leave."
You
Best
gotta keep
Bigfoot movie
Sasquatch.
ever made.
Exactly. Except for that one with Michael Rooker that we can't
find because it doesn't exist.
I know I did not dream that. I swear to God, I watched it. Anyway.
I think he was just talking about making Walking Dead, and he just said, "Yeah, this is."
Oh, that's what I was going to ask you. What is this Fear the Walking Dead?
So it's the prequel show to Walking Dead. So it's like how the zombie outbreak started.
Oh,
It's a
okay.
whole another city and a whole different family and all this other stuff. So
You watching?
Yeah, I've been watching it. Yeah,
Isn't it good? I mean,
it's
does
good
it
so
hold
far.
up?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's good. It's just different. It's a different vibe because it's the start of the apocalypse thing. And
There's a new Netflix show,
yeah, what's that?
Narcos. Have you heard about this?
I've heard about it. Yeah, I've heard it's really good.
Thinking that might be this next TV show we watched at the same time. Kind of.
Everybody's been talking about that in
Yeah.
the cigar shops, man. Just
Yeah.
all over the place talking about
It's about the
Narcos.
Pablo Escobar rise to
Yep.
his.
So is it a documentary or is it a show?
No, it's a show.
Oh, okay,
It's
it is a show.
Yeah, it's a show.
All right. I'll have to check it out then. Check that out. So here's an actor that I think is he does both. He can teeter the line between overacting and underacting, and I think he's effective at both. Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yeah.
Vincent D'Onofrio is very good in certain roles, and then just crazy off the wall in
yeah.
other roles.
Yeah.
There's another guy that does that a lot too, and I'm trying to think of it. Oh, Gary Oldman.
Gary
Oldman's another one that can
Yeah.
be very good, understated, underactor, and then other times it's like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah,
Just goes
exactly.
crazy.
Yeah.
But D'Onofrio really sold. I know you're not gonna ever watch this, but there's a Daredevil Netflix show, and he plays Kingpin, and it is so cool. His characterization of that character is awesome. Just the way he plays it, very understated and very misunderstood guy, and you kind of feel for him. He's a bad guy, but he's also a bastard, and it's just he does such a great job with that role. Such a great job. It's probably the best Marvel thing to come out in like years.
Yeah.
Which says a
Interesting.
lot because there's a lot of good Marvel stuff
Yeah.
out there now. I know you're not a big fan, but
No, I've liked some of D'Onofrio stuff. It was funny you mentioned his name because I hadn't thought of that guy's name in years. And for some reason, I was looking up Adventures in Babysitting on IMDb today. I have no idea why that popped.
he was Thor.
I think someone, yeah. And I was like, Vincent D'Onofrio was in that? What?
Yeah.
And I looked and went, oh, that's right, he was Thor.
That was the movie he did after Full Metal Jacket when he
Really?
gained a ton of weight for Full Metal Jacket. He wasn't a fat guy. He gained
Yeah.
all that weight for that
Yeah.
movie because Kubrick's like, "You're my guy, gain weight." So he gained weight for that role, and then he lost it all and got all cut and big for the Thor role for Adventures in
He's in
Babysitting.
it for
It's
like 5 minutes.
I know,
It's the-
right?
you know.
But he's one of those guys. It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'll do it for the role, cool, whatever, So
Oh, I know what it was. They were talking about. I saw a list on Facebook. It was like actresses that got their start playing ugly roles and they're now attractive. Kind of. That was the theme of this thing.
okay,
And the chick that she goes to pick up at the downtown and with the glasses, lost her glasses. And,
yeah,
she looked real kind of
mousy.
Yeah. Penelope Ann Miller is who that was.
Oh, really?
And she turned out to be really hot.
Yeah, she was hot.
Great body. What's that movie? She was a stripper and she was really
Yeah, I
hot.
know what you're talking about. Yeah,
But
she looked good in the shadow.
yeah.
Yeah, it's another actor that can go both ways. Alec Baldwin.
Yeah,
Go.
I love him in comedy. I don't like him in anything
In
else.
dramatic stuff?
Yeah, but I love
Yeah.
him in comedy.
I liked
He
him in
gets
Shadow.
comedy. He gets comedy. Oh, he's good in the shadow. Yeah,
Yeah,
he gets comedy, and I like that. I don't like
Yeah.
him as a person, but I like his comedy. He's very good.
yeah.
And when he's on Saturday Night Live, it's gold. He's awesome on Saturday Night Live. I could not get into
30 Rock.
30 Rock.
I love 30 Rock. 30
couldn't
Rock's
get
great.
into it.
That's
Couldn't get
such
into
a
it.
great show.
Wanted to like it. Tracy Morgan ruined that for me.
Yeah.
I just didn't like his character. Tina Fey, I can take her
I
leave.
like her.
I used to like her a lot.
Yeah.
She's just kind of worn on me. She hasn't changed at all. It's just the same shtick that she's just been doing.
Yeah.
But,
Steve Carell. It's another like under/over. He can go both ways, but
Yeah.
he is very good at the
In his
drama.
comedy, he's real over the top, but his drama's very...
Well, yeah, I mean, you give him a role that he's supposed to be over the top,
Yeah.
like in Anchorman. He's going to
Yeah.
go crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Like stuff like Dan in Real Life, and
Good
Crazy-
movie, very
Crazy
underrated
Stupid
movie.
Love. Yeah,
But Crazy Stupid Love, yeah, he goes over the top at times, when he's
Yeah.
sitting at the bar screaming about his wife's having intercourse.
right, right.
That's a great movie. But anyway, so that's my rant. Just because an actor underacts doesn't mean they're not effective and that they
True.
can't, that they're not practicing their craft. They are practicing. To me, they're actually doing it better. Because anybody can be over the top. That's just easy to do.
Yeah.
It's
finding the true voice of the character and presenting that on screen is what I think a good actor does. It's taking it from the page and presenting it in a way that seems natural, and
Right.
that's the hard part, I think. And
Well, you told that story about Nicholson. Who was that guy?
yeah, it was Nicholson and Pollock. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was like Nicholson was telling Pollock that you'd done it. He goes, "You're doing it, man. You're doing what people are paying thousands of dollars to learn. It's the art of acting without acting."
Yeah.
It's like, you're there. He's like, oh.
That's cool.
It's just way cool to hear from Nicholson.
Yeah.
And Nicholson's like, going crazy in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's my theory.
He does smoke cigars in Few Good Men as well.
He does. That's
That's
right.
when that scene when what's his name walks up and talks to him, and Tom Cruise is talking to him, and he's there smoking, puffing on a cigar the whole time
Yep.
before the trial. So yeah,
Awesome.
that's one we'll have to watch. But what are we doing next week? We're gonna go ahead and
We're going to do one of my favorite comedy classics.
oh yeah,
At least it's a classic to me.
oh yeah, what's that?
Uncle Buck
Uncle Buck.
with John Candy, the late, great, awesome John Candy.
Yeah, John Candy's awesome. Yeah.
And he smokes cigars throughout the whole freaking movie.
He does, yeah. We're not even going to count the times because it's just if he's in the screen, he's
smoking a
cigar. He smokes Lanceros too, I
does,
believe. So yeah, so that's great. So yeah, check us out next week for Uncle Buck. Give it a
Nice.
watch if you haven't seen it. If you have seen it, watch it again because it's one of the greats.
It's awesome.
One of the best John Candy movies
And
ever
one of
made.
the last great John Hughes movies, too.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So where can they find us, Randy?
We are on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, Stitcher, Podcast Land, Podomatic, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. I'm at Randy Rankin 43 on Twitter.
At Captain Funky Pants, and check us out on Twitter as well at Cigars in Cinema, all one word, IN
yep.
Cinema, and also on Instagram at Cigars in Cinema.
There you go.
All right. So hey, as always, it's been great smoking with you guys.
See you later, Brandon.
See you later, Randy.